We are here at the Podcast Hub in South Park. I'm here with my beautiful soul sister, Sarah Knapp. You might want to scoot over. Just because. There we go. We're talking about the gift of alzheimer's and caring for the elderly who are getting ready to leave. And who teach us so much. And we're kicking at me sometimes.
That's a teaching too.
Show. Okay, so check 1, 2. See, so you can show. Say 1, 2, 3.
Hello.
That's right.
That's right.
You're really close to it. I'm going to see.
Okay, I can project.
I'll just have you because you're going to be doing most of the talking, so you can have it right there.
All right.
And when I ask a question, I'll be like, da-da-da.
Rock and roll.
And
Kind of fun with the visual.
it is. It's
I
kind
think
of cool.
we look good.
We do. Very good. Matter of fact, we should take a picture of this. Hold on, guys. By the way, everything is available and happening here. We can cuss, we can cry.
Fabulous. I feel
This
the
is
same
not
way.
we're gonna both. Hello. Podcast recording right here. With this beautiful Sarah Knapp. Who are you? Stay tuned. Coming soon.
Hilarious. I love it. Okay.
And so this is Tales of Recovery. And if I need to spell. Here's the thing, guys. I do a lot of things. I have kids and elderly parents and 2 businesses, 3 businesses. And this is what I really like to do. Hang out with you and sing and do a podcast. So, but I do have to get a lot of shit ready for this. And so here we go. Are you still watching? Whoever's there? Okay, I think this is good. First of all, always make sure that this is off.
Metronome.
Yes, because I'll be like, and I don't know how to turn it. I think it's off.
Yeah, it's off.
Okay, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, friends. Welcome to Tales of Recovery. This is your host, Grease Alves. Today, I have my beautiful soul sister, Sarah Knapp, singer, songwriter, connected with just the magic of love at a super young age. I'm super excited to have you here today.
Glad to be here.
Yes. So Tales of Recovery is a podcast about not just recovery from drug addiction or any kind of, substance abuse, but it's a recovery of whatever happens in your life and how through this process of resilience and fighting for healing and for freedom, you recover. What's always been your divine birthright is what you came here to give as medicine to the rest of the world. So that's the purpose behind this podcast. And also to have fun and to just love on each other and hang out. Yeah. So I met Sarah through other mutual friends in Golden. I think I went to a women's ceremony circle and you asked if you could sing for my mom because your dad has Alzheimer's. My mom has stroke cursors, whatever. She had a stroke. And so I just love how we connected because when you come and sing to my mom, it just lights up everybody. Music is just so healing. Yeah. So how did you start singing? Get into music and expressing, your gifts through that?
So I grew up in musical theater and on stage and dancing and acting and all of that. And just at a really young age, loved sound. My mom would always tell me that I was like, as a really young girl, would stop people in the grocery store and be like, tug on their shirt and be like, can I sing for you? 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 And she'd like turn around and be like, where is she? And be like singing for someone. But so, yeah, but I think in my early 20s is when I started to, in my early 20s, which is so long ago, is when I started to realize that like it really was just music for me, you know, it wasn't so much the performing stuff and more just like really the true medicine of music. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because I've seen you perform with some really great jazz musicians, and you're amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's such a trip because I used to, think way back, oh, they're an old soul. I'd be like, whatever. But now I deeply understand what they mean by old soul and just the wisdom that comes with that, and just kind of getting rid of the, oh, I'm in a new human body, but let me press through and do my thing.
Totally.
Yeah. So the main thing we're talking about and sharing with everyone today is the gift of Alzheimer's. So I know you are the main caregiver for your dad. So tell us, like, when did he get diagnosed? How did it get started? How did that all kind of unveil?
Yeah. So I just want to, I think, start by saying that my experience with Alzheimer's is my experience. And there are so many people that, I've had a really blessed journey with this specific disease. And there's so many people that don't have that same blessed journey. And so I'm not in any way saying that Alzheimer's is beautiful for everyone. It's like really heartbreaking and heartbreaking for me too. But who my dad has become through his Alzheimer's is significantly more free and spiritual and at peace and ease than he was before. So that's been our little journey with it. But
thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
So we honor those that have had a harder time. Totally. But this is your perspective and your experience and your tale of recovery. So. Yeah.
My relationship with my dad growing up was always like just trippy and tricky. And he was a doctor, he's a dermatologist, and he was on the spectrum. Also, I feel like a little Asperger's situation, and just a total space cadet of a dad, and didn't really know like his brain, like I would be crying and his brain wouldn't register that I was crying. And so he was really like kind of distant and weird, but I also got him and he also got me and was like educating me on a lot of like, Beatles stuff and Grateful Dead stuff at a really young age, and just like taught me a lot of, spiritual truths and tricks in his very own, very strange way. So, but it was tough, I like really had a lot of shit with him for a lot of my life. And then when I was 22, around 21, 22 is when he was not acting right in high school. But I always kind of thought that was part of just him being a general weirdo. Yeah. But when, I was 20 or 21, people around him started saying, why is he driving past our street? And why can't he, like there's something really going on with his brain. So he went to the doctor and they started saying dementia. And then soon after that, they were like, no, this is something else going on.
How old is your dad?
He's 68. He just turned 68. So it is early onset. Yeah. And my parents are divorced now. And my parents got divorced when I was 19, and then he got diagnosed 3 months after that. So this is kind of like
a trigger.
Yeah, I think so. But my mom even told me that she was like, I noticed signs for a long time. And like, I think that is part of the educational piece with this disease is like, no one teaches you what to look out for and like how long of an unraveling it can be. So I'm also a little passionate about like talking about it so people can know for their own parents and their grandparents.
For ourselves.
Totally.
I don't know. Twice your age, this could be.
Totally.
So when he's diagnosed, where's the situation? Like, where are you living? Can he stay with you? Do you guys like have a breakdown? Do they give you medication? What do they offer you as? Because you asked me this question too in one of the talks that we had about your I think it's, I don't know, one of your reports at school, at university.
Yeah.
What is my experience being a Latin American woman in acquiring palliative care for my mom who's Latin American? And I was like, nobody's ever said that word before.
Right.
We're still trying to cure her stroke. And so, you know, I think it's important. Like, what did someone tell you?
Right.
Here's a support group, or here you go, there's your diagnosis. Bye. Yeah, right. We're laughing. We are the support group.
This is the support group.
This podcast right here.
Right here. So I was really fortunate in that I was so young when he got sick, and he has like a superpower team around him of this couple that he is best friends with that really stepped in and said, we're going to be the power of attorney and we're going to be the medical, you know, and like Sarah's too young to like navigate this whole thing, which I really think I was, you know. So they were really helpful in all of just the, you know, like, yeah, I was 20 and he was arranging his will, you know, like just stepping right into that, like, okay, we're going down kind of logistical mode. So he was living in an apartment in Pacific Beach and was living alone. And so when I was in college at the time when he got diagnosed, and just really immediately felt the call to be like, I'm his only daughter. He's not married. My parents are divorced, and I'm going to be here. Like, fuck that. Like, I don't give a shit about finishing my degree. Like, he's not going to do this alone. And, you know, just that's really important to me, that people that, like, you know, kids my age understand that, like, regardless of whatever the fuck your parents did to you, and I'm sure they did a lot of fucked up shit, some more than others, like, these people tied your shoes, and these people fed you, and these people, like, were your voice before you had one. So for me to be able to give that back to him and to be like, I'm going to hold your hand in this really, I mean, can you even imagine how scary it is to lose your entire third dimensional grasp on what's happening here, you know? So I moved home. I was like 2 years into college, or 3 years, and Alzheimer's like totally fucked up my whole educational path, which is in turn a gift in itself, because I think higher education's not really my spot anyways. And he was living in an apartment, and I was dealing with these kind of things where, like, he, you know, I'd go into his apartment and be like, okay, Dad, I'm gonna, you know, have you eaten today? Did you change your underpants? Like, what's going on, you know? And okay, I'm gonna make you food. And then I'd see his electrical gas would be on, like the stove would be on, or the door would be unlocked, or I would just like pick up on these little signs that were like, okay, it's really not safe for him to be living on his own. And he would, you know, sometimes call me and be like, I don't know where I am. Can you come pick me up? And like those sort of things were happening, to the point where the care team around him, me and this couple, decided, okay, let's get him some supervision. So he moved into independent living in the beginning, and is resourced financially. So there was no issue in doing that, which has been a whole other aspect of this whole thing that makes it so easy for us. Yeah. And then maybe a year later, he moved into assisted living. And then maybe 6 months after that, he moved into memory care, which is sort of the full and last final stop in an Alzheimer's person's care and journey. Yeah. And he got lost when he was in assisted living, because they're technically allowed to leave. And so he went missing for like almost a whole day. And that's when we were like, okay, we need to move into the lockdown.
Where did you find him? Where did he go?
So, oh man. So it was like in August, it was like one of the hottest days of the year. He was living in assisted living in Pacific Beach, and he left in the morning at 9 a.m. and told the person at the front desk that he was going to go to the beach. And then he said, and then I'm going to go see the pyramids. And I was kind of like, why did you not ask him what pyramids? Right. What pyramids? I, maybe want to like make sure he has his phone, make sure I know that he's leaving. Like there was not, so off he went.
Oh, gosh.
And then I found out around 2 p.m. that he hadn't come back. He didn't have his phone. Like there were helicopters. All my friends mobilized. We posted on Instagram. I was like, definitely, it was a really dark initiation into that like feeling of like, am I going to see him again? Did someone pick him up in a van and he's in fucking Mexico right now? Like, is he dead on a beach? It was like wicked hot. Like, and he's not, when you have Alzheimer's, you're not in tune with your animal body as much. Like, oh, wait, I need to stop walking, or like, I need some water, or like whatever. And we found him. It was really, I like spiritually, just the whole day with like in all the madness, being on the phone and talking to the police and like just the craziness, would stop every hour and just close my eyes and like call him. Like call to him and be like, Dad, can you hear me? I'm paging you. Like, you need to stop walking. Like, can you feel like, did this sort of like universe invocation and was like trying to hear where he was. And then at one point, it kind of in one of those, it kind of clicked. I was like, oh, the pyramid, like the mountain, like where we walk. Like I would always walk him up Mount Soledad. And so I was like, oh shit, like da da da, and then called the one of the
rangers.
Yeah, it was actually one of the rangers, which was like one of my friends, right? Like we had the rangers, and then we had the rangers. We had the village rangers who were just like people would come, and I'd be like, go walk on the beach, go tell the lifeguards, like go, you know. But at one point, told them, I'm like, go look at the bottom of Mount Soledad, like just go in that whole area, which is where he ended up being. So, yeah, one of my friends from high school who I hadn't seen for a few years actually found him, and he had walked all day. Like he was pink. He had muscle cramping all night. He like never stopped walking because he just went into that like panicky. Yeah. Yeah.
You took him to the hospital and recovery.
Yeah, that night they were like gonna take him, and then we were just like, I mean, he physically wasn't okay, but emotionally, mentally was, we were just like, let's not do let's just like drink Gatorade all night long. And I stayed with him that night and massaged him and monitored him, and he was okay. So.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So immediately we ran to the hospital just in case.
Totally.
With the knowing.
Yeah.
And he was okay.
Yeah, he was okay.
Yeah. So hospitals is great. I love hospitals for that help, but sometimes it's so extra.
Totally.
50 million tests for like.
Just like the fluorescent lights and putting him in tube. He already just had like probably the most intense day of his entire life. And to be like, okay, now we're going to go plug it. Yeah, exactly. He didn't need that. He just needed
some love and care, safety.
Yeah.
So then you moved him into this home. So what is your life now? Because I want to ask you about your parents' divorce and how this, because I saw you at home.
We're talking about
Not about the divorce. Not about the divorce. But I just saw, okay, so at one point you were singing at a concert at a show. And your dad is sitting there, and then your mom is sitting there. And you mentioned, my parents are actually like getting along. Maybe because your dad forgot everything, or your mom's like, well, he's a different person. Totally. So how has he shifted into a different person?
Yeah, totally. So, do you want me to answer the first question about what our days are like, or what my role is? Or
whatever.
Okay.
I tend to do that. I have like 5 questions at once. I'm sorry. So whatever you want to ask.
So, so again, it's just a super fortunate golden situation where I was doing a caregiving job for seniors a year ago, and then went to this, his power of attorney, and was like, well, can I just do this for him? Like, I'm seeing him every day for like an hour, but like, can I just spend 6 hours a day, like making sure that he's having a good life? Yeah. So for the past year almost, I get paid hourly to take him to Buffalo Park and to get him in the world and to like get him into nature and just to like really, and obviously that has changed so much because he in the beginning could be out until 1 a.m. going to concerts with me and my friends, and kind of just like I'd pull him out there and we'd be in the world all day. And now he can't be out really past 4 because of sundown syndrome. So,
Mm.
but yeah, it's just like the best thing ever. Like these are the golden years, like in my life. I really believe to be with him every day through this whole thing. So, yeah. So, this is kind of the part of the gift of Alzheimer's, or like why this specific disease has been such medicine for me, and I do believe that for my family as well, is watching a very neurotic, controlling, tightly wound man, stressed, workaholic, really deeply emotionally unavailable, turn into this gushy jaboo, right? Like he soft, like he has totally metamorphosized from this like very standard kind of like unavailable father thing to this cosmic darling with me. So who he's become, and this is why, Rumi said like the pain is where the light enters you, or the wound is where the light enters you. Like it is so painful what he's experiencing. And at the same time, as he gets worse with his Alzheimer's, his spirit gets
more expansive,
wider. Yeah, he has more space because there's less of the like ego, identity, memory, blame thing going on. And he's just, and that's what makes Alzheimer's so scary, is how present they are. But also what makes people with Alzheimer's such spiritual avatars for our society is that they are here and we're not. I'm not. I'll speak for myself. I'm back there. I'm in the future. I'm like, well, and they are just here, which can be so scary and such chaos. But also to be with someone who doesn't even have access to the constraints of the past is pretty amazing. So yeah, my mom and my dad have just horrible marriage and a horrible divorce. And I, from a really young age, was like, y'all, can you please call this off? This sucks for me. Like it was bad. It was really bad my whole life. We had a really bad household. And I love my parents both so much, and hashtag divine timing, whatever. Yeah. But when he got diagnosed and started to get worse, I would start asking my mom, like, come and see him. Like, he's different now. He's super lovely. Like, come hang out. And she was really resistant. And then I think when I started showing her videos where I was like, yo, no, for real. He's real. He's like a kid. He's like a boy. He's just pure love. Like there's no harm here. She, for my 25th birthday this past August, I called her, I think crying, and I was like, Mom, all I really want for my birthday is to be with the both of you in one room. And as like an only child, the wound is so deep. And I just think in general, when you have divorced parents, like there's something on a cellular level that knows, like, I came from, I want to be with two. So my birthday, we went to Cafe Gratitude, and it was me and my partner at the time, and my sister, best friend, and my two parents. And I sat between my parents, and I felt that, like, there was something really deep in my being that just took a sigh and was like everything is okay. Like it was just so deep. Just I had my hand on both of their knees, and I was just like, oh, me too. So, but that is something that was only made possible by Alzheimer's, because, and it was very deep. It was very deep. He looked at her, and he, quote unquote, didn't know who she was. And at the same time was kind of like checking her out the whole time. It was like
kind of cute.
It's kind of cute. Oh no, straight up. He's like, I want to date, like he definitely, oh yeah, there's been a lot of really cute advancements in him being like, who's that blonde girl? Like, she's so pretty.
That's
Can I
awesome.
take her on a date? Whatever. And I'm like, don't even tell him. I'm like, that's my mom. You were married for 30 or 25 years. But anyways, but yeah, so he had
You tell him that or you don't?
I don't. Yeah, I don't. I do say that's my mom, but at this point in his disease, he doesn't know that I'm his daughter, so he doesn't really know that that makes her my mom,
Right.
and he's lost all of that. So, but yeah, it's for her, and so we hung out that one time in August, and that was okay. There was a lot of like tension and stress because he was really looking at her. He had something there that was like, but wait. I know you.
Yeah.
I know you, and not being able to place that. And then we, for the holidays, and the holidays came around, I was like, Mom, let's just do it. Let's just all hang out. I'll throw a party. We'll invite all the families that we love over. So it's not just the three of us. And like, let's just be together. And she said, okay. So we spent Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's all together. And she, is dealing with her own sadness about what it's like to see this man as a child again, but has also told me some, she was like, yeah, I mean, the way that he is now is how he was when I first fell in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
Just like he's loved now again, so there's some really beautiful reflections from her as well. And it's just really, it's hard for her, which makes a lot of sense. I can't imagine.
Right.
It's like, yeah.
Everybody processes their own experience through their own pain and their own perspective, right? So is your dad aware of what's happening to him? Mm-hmm. Or is he past the point? Or when did he? Sometimes I wonder, my mom, does she know? I think she does, then she doesn't, but then she does.
Yeah. Again, it's kind of like as the disease gets worse, he gets better. Like in the beginning, which is very directly correlates to the spiritual experience of being human. That in the beginning, he was grasping so hard. He didn't want it to slip. He didn't want to look bad. He didn't want to his ego was like, I'm fine. I'm a doctor. Like he would get angry at me. He would he didn't want any of the me making him food, and he didn't want that. And as the years have gone by, now he's like, I don't think he knows. I really don't think he knows anymore that there's quote unquote something wrong. And I think that's because there isn't anything wrong. He's returning to source slowly over time, which is also, I think, the hidden gift of Alzheimer's, and also the thing that makes it such agony is how slow the death is. It's not once, and other diseases work like this too, but it's a brain death that's so slow. So a part of him dies every week, a part of him dies every month, But I think he is happy. He is a happy fucking dude.
Yeah.
Yesterday we were walking in the woods and he was just blissed out. No problem, no grasping. 2 years ago, he would have been, on some mental tangent, trying to figure it out. And he still is that way sometimes now. And I'll just be like, Dad, let it go, forget it. Just look, hey, look at this flower. Look at this flower.
Yeah.
Or listen to this song. Let it go. Don't worry.
That's so cool how, it's like you're living the morning before he's gone. So it's such an opportunity to learn and grow and love while you're here. Just the fact that you said, fuck college, I'm going to go back. Because, I struggle being, okay, now I have to take care of my parents, my mom. And there's a lot of, not so much anymore, but a lot of resistance at first. Okay, I have to do this now. I have teenagers and I have a job and I have this and that. But at the same time, as I'm processing it, I'm like, this is a gift. You don't have kids, so I do sometimes think oof, I think my husband and my kids might need me here, but these people are leaving, so I mean, maybe I could leave before them, right? But I don't know that. So I understand that the power of coming back and saying, I'm going to love you and walk you through this, bringing your mom in. That's so cool. I mean, to be honest, it's like, wow,
Right.
through 25 and just the love and dedication of knowing that this is what it is.
I think that's just like such a cultural disaster too. Like I've had the tremendous privilege of living in India twice and seeing how that part of the world does family and does togetherness. And there were so many people that when I was like, no, this is my path is to be with him every fucking day. We're like, don't lose sight. You're in your 20s. Like, you don't want to
achieve.
Totally. And like, oh, you're going to get behind. You're going to get behind. And I was like, chill. I am not going to get behind. Like, I am also going to focus on what is my passion and my own earth walk, which so beautifully has turned into death studies and palliative care and geriatrics and so I'm like, and then bringing music in with dad and all of it has so strangely and yet so perfectly worked together. So, it has been a really young thing. Like I'm young for doing this, but also it's like really, beamed me up really quickly into like what matters to me. And,
well, there's so much more meaning in this than achieving and hurrying up and getting the prize before you're 30. Big fucking deal. In the end, we're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. What matters is how we lived and how we loved. And I think, the other cool thing of me connecting with you is because when I was your age, I guess, I was singing in a band and I got a lot of like, oh, you're 25 or 27, you're older. What do you mean I'm older? I'm doing this. I'm singing it. It doesn't belong, career isn't just for a 15-year-old or a 50-year-old or whatever. But seeing that and just, I was going to be turning 30 and I thought, yeah, I guess I'm too old. I just got to go have kids now. And I fell into the programming and so years later that I meet you, it's just been cool because when you were singing to my mom one day, my mom said, well, my daughter sings too. Oh, you sing. And that's how kind of we connected in. Well, there's this women's resistance revival chorus, and it's for social justice and empowering women and resisting whatever we have to resist with joy. And now we're like gathering all these girls coming up to sing. Is you as a leader of this voice or these voices? And I look back thinking, it's for any age. And it's not about achieving, it's about doing and living it. So anybody out there who's young and thinking, oh, I'm running out of time. No, you're not running out of time.
You are? Because you're going to die. But you're not.
Well, you're running out of time to love, but not to achieve.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
That's a quote right there. That's a Grace Alva's original.
Boom.
You're running out of time to love, but not to achieve.
Yeah. I'm going to have to post that.
For sure.
You just have to share.
For sure.
It's good things to remember.
Yeah.
I want to ask you really quick. You mentioned in there that your dad cannot go out after 4 p.m. because of sundown syndrome. Tell us what sundown syndrome is.
So, every day is different with him. Some days he's like a total oracle channel guru, and some days he's frustrated and aggressive. And, I do not mean to paint the picture of this whole thing like it's nonstop bliss and love and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of shit too. But yeah, so sundown syndrome is just kind of pointing to this phenomenon in the brain where like after the sun goes down, some seniors with dementia or Alzheimer's can just get a little more confused. So there are, in the beginning, a year ago, I just was super confident. I could take him anywhere. We could do anything for long periods of time. He could be out the whole day, like no problem. And now like we've had several really intense traumatic episodes where he will just dissociate and kind of like have a bad trip basically in this reality and be like, who are you? What's going on? You have to take me, blah, blah, blah. You know, there have been times where we're like, oh, should we call the cops? Do we call the nurses? Like these really intricate situations where you just have to dance with him and pull in as many people as you can to kind of like, like I always say this phrase, but people with Alzheimer's or dementia or just whatever, and when we all have this too, has like a wild horse energy. Like he can spook, and it is scary. So now I'm just much more conservative about like how many hours we're out. I don't really take him out past the sun going down anymore, and just have to be really like, even when I bring him over to my house, have to be really careful when we're leaving. Like, okay, it's time to leave. And he'll be like, no, I want to stay. And I'm like, you can't. We got to go back to your house. It's like, what house? What do you mean? And, you know, he's so present that there's nowhere else for him. There is nowhere else. There's no other house. There's no other place. So what do you mean? Go where? So then he can get kind of freaked out. So yeah.
That's so interesting that he's so present, and we're always up in the mind.
And that's what I invite. I mean, I would love for you to come just hang out with us someday. I invite lots of people and really anyone at all to come and be with him, because regardless of what random caca shit he's saying, so, I mean, sometimes he just says the most random nonsensical things for hours, which I also think is wisdom. Yeah. Like I'm always writing down what he's saying and recording it. But regardless of what he's saying, the way that he bees, how he just be, is so present and so tender and so good to all people. I mean, when we go on walks, every single person that walks by, he says, hi, hello, hey. You know, he's just like just the little Buddha, you know, all the time. So he's a really like healing, he has a very healing presence, so I believe. Cool. Yeah.
And you know, I'm going to have to practice so much just to be present.
Totally.
And here he is just showing you, showing us. I definitely want to hang out with you.
Oh, please.
Yeah. Please. It's funny. My mom's kind of like that. We're always like, Mom, she wants to talk to everyone and ask them how their day was.
Was she like that before?
And where did you buy your shoes?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was kind of like that since before.
And my dad kind of was too.
Always
He's
talking
always
to people.
A man of the people, for sure.
My mom is friends with everyone.
Yeah.
Like we crossed the border every day for years, and she had the newspaper guy who she knew, and the lady that sold the candy, and so, and they were all her friends. Like if she didn't have money, they'd say, "Oh, it's fine, you got you later," because she talks to everyone. We'd always be like, "Mom, we gotta go." Right. Oh, your hat! Where'd you get your hat? So it's just the perspective shifts now, and I'm like, oh, okay, she's been really cool for a long time, and I was just in my own pain.
Yeah.
You know, not seeing things straight in my process of growth, like we all have.
Totally.
You know? But it's fascinating to me how we've come together, and I just finished a whole 1.5 years of deep studies of thanatology, which is the study of death, and you're so intrigued by it, and I think that's, to me, the best way to live is diving in 100%. What is death? Instead of, you just want to avoid it and stay young and be healthy and never ever get, I mean, it's, of course we want to preserve these vehicles of energy and love, but there's so much more than that. And that's kind of what, I mean, did you think about these things prior to your dad getting sick?
It's so funny because I was just growing up, like I think I just had I mean we all do, but it's so much pain. Like that my family environment was so, I just felt so undernourished and alone. Yeah. So my response to that, with as far as my personality goes, was to be really funny and really positive. So my whole life I was just like, the sunny side of the street, like obnoxiously so. Like in high school, after high school, I mean, people liked to be around me because I was always serving that positive vibe, but it was so exhausting. And it was on top of so much shit that I just could not be with. And so taking a gothic turn has been so liberating for me, and really being like, no, I do the darkness now. And like,
shut it.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Like, has just been the shit to be, and really cannot even say that that's not because of Golden, my mentor.
Yes.
Can we just shout out to Golden Awakening?
At Golden Awakening.
At Golden
the bomb. Goddess Queen.
Goddess Queen, Oracle of San Diego, was dead ass the first person to be like, you have to get in there, darling. You have to get in there. Like, you're not gonna live unless you get into that darker cave of shit, you know? That, like, those crossbones and skulls. So now I'm really interested in that. And that was also a shift in my perspective of the whole yin and yang thing, and that they work together, these darker and lighter energies and forces, to make what this thing we call life is. But that we're just, I think, culturally so conditioned to like not grieve, and to not cry, and to not think about death, and to not,
and to be scared of it.
And to be scared of it, which is so, I think, and I'm reading this book called Die Wise by Stephen Jenkinson, which is like so rich and such an initiatory text. But he was just like, it is your right as a human being. You got born, didn't you?
Yeah.
That happened. So you're going to die, aren't you? Mm-hmm. So like, it is your right to be curious about this, and to look into this, and to, you know, till the soil of what is going to happen to you at any moment. We don't know. You know, so like, am I great at being like constantly like, oh, the precious miracle of life? Not at all. I'm just like annoyed and sad and frustrated and confused, just like anybody else. And at the same time, like, bringing death into my daily life is a way for, if even for a moment, to say, oof, here we are. That's pretty cool.
It's so cool. And I also sometimes feel so much sorrow at just how beautiful it is.
Oh my God.
Like, it's not always like, oh, cool, the ocean is phenomenal. It's like, honestly, I sit there and I look at my kids, and I look at my husband, my friend. Even just this moment here, I'm feeling this surge of sorrow right now, because all I think is, it's going to end. It's so beautiful, and it's going to end. Don't waste your time with stupid programming and bullshit, and, you know, dig deep and get in there. And then, of course, I have moments of just laughter and enjoyment, but I do feel that, and maybe it's a grieving of, I don't know, that I didn't start sooner or whatever. But I think, you know, I was living pretty loud and large.
Yeah,
you'd be living. 14
you'd be living.
But I think the sorrow is a deep love. It's not like a sadness, like, oh my God. It's like this deep sense of, it's so precious. You know, when you see this little baby or whatever, and you're just like, so precious, and you can't control it. That's kind of the feeling I get sometimes about life, and just, you know. So I love watching you on Instagram, which of course everyone needs to go follow you. Right? Everything True is free.
Came up with that when I was 14. I was like, no. Now I'm like, that's so lame, but okay.
Actually, why is it lame? You know what? It's not lame. It's powerful. And number two, since I can remember, that's what my dad used to say to us. Everything of value has no cost. What? Like, I didn't understand. You know, it's like, the best thing in life is just it's not worth any kind of money loving someone. And just, that's what life is about. And I would be like, oh, whatever, Dad. Just go make some more money, because I need to go. You know what I mean? I didn't get it. Yeah. So when I saw your name is Everything Trish, I'm like, yeah, see? My dad used to say that. And so, no. Yeah. So the way you live your life in such freedom and expression is bomb. And it's really, I think, inspiring. And so,
I have
thank
two things. Do we have time? Okay, two
yeah.
things. So one is thank you. And just to like fully expose my humanness, like, you know, so much of being alone with dad is very lonely for me.
Mhm.
Like, it's just me and him and the witness, God, spirit, nature, whatever.
Yeah.
That showing it on Instagram has been deeply healing and also something there that I don't want to feel when I'm just alone with him in it, you know? And my friends make fun of me that I'm like my dear friend recently called me a compulsive oversharer, which I received with I was like, oh yes, finally, like, you know, and so I do have this like compulsive tendency to like talk all day and communicate all day and share all day. And like, yes, that is beautiful and that is expressed for sure. And it is a gift. And there's also this other thing there that I'm just so afraid to be ultimately what we all are, which is alone. And I'm also never alone, but I feel alone a lot, you know, and so I'm always on the phone and always sharing on Instagram and always like, you know, so there's something there too. So, anyways, I'm human, I'm fucked up. I have no idea what's going on. And the second thing I wanted to share is this beautiful, just reflecting on the sorrowness of the joy and how it's all going to go away. And like I have a background in Buddhism, and so like impermanence, you know, I'm kind of used to that intellectually of just like everything's going to go away, like everything dies. And there are some things that I truly believe won't, you know, certain relationships. I'm like, no, I will never lose them. God would never do that to me. Like I would become insane. But there's this word in Farsi. My sister is Persian and her family is Persian, and they've like really taught me a lot and influenced my life so much and took care of me when I was a fucking mess, when everything was falling apart. And it's khaysh. It's like, oh, khaysh, oh, akhesh. I don't really know how to spell it, but it means like, oh, my heart is touched, basically. It means like whenever I do it, I always go, oh, hey, it's like, oh, hey. Like, it's just like that. You can't even say it in English, but it's like that thing that breaks your heart. And so people say, oh, hey, it's like when they either feel compassion or when you look at a newborn baby, you go, oh, hey, it's like tenderness, or when you see a sunset, oh, hey, it's like, you know, so yeah, it's hard to describe in English like what it means to be so present that anything can break your heart, you know. And I feel so numb to that a lot of the time. Like I'm jealous that you can cry, just your tears right there, because I don't have that yet. So teach me, but yeah, like this moment is full of so much sorrow and so much joy, and that's.
I think, okay, I'm gonna cry again. No, because look, here's the thing.
Listen up.
I think we are stripped of our intensity because we're told so much. You're oversharing. You're being too loud. You're oversaying. You're overdoing. So there's a sense of, okay, I shouldn't feel so much. I shouldn't share so much. I shouldn't speak so much. And I'll tell you something, I'm twice your age, so you can't overshare. You can't overfeel. You can be intense. We're supposed to be intense. So, of course, there's pain and struggle, and everyone's got their journey. But if that's one of the programming things that gets in there to not allow us to feel, feel, go for it. Overshare, live, be intense. Okay? Okay.
You heard?
You heard?
Did
you
you?
heard it here, and tells every recovery. Just, you know, there's always, of course, a frame of safety and compassion and respect for others, but we're so a lot, we're so trapped in many ways.
Compressed and repressed.
Yeah. And so, and it's taken me a long time to even just be in here saying, I want to do this and I want to feel that. And what?
Right.
I pay my taxes.
Right.
I clean my street.
I'm going to be as loud as I want.
I'm going to be loud as I want. And if in the church gets upset, too bad.
Yeah, for sure.
And if my family gets upset, I apologize. You got your own life to live. I love you all. From far away sometimes, from close up sometimes.
Fucking best. You're the literal best.
Absolutely.
And being around you has liberated me in that way. You have this unleashed philosophy that is directly transmitted through the way that you be, for sure. And it is like, I do appreciate that because it is, I think, especially as a woman, and just kind of playing into my own stories about myself. Like, I'm always like, I'm too much. Like, I'm too much. I've just got to tone this down because I love too much. I love too big. I talk too much. I'm just so much, and kind of balancing that with also finding a way to be at home with just this moment and myself and my dad and the cosmos, and having kind of both of those exist at the same time.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. I had a logo when I was about your age for my record company. And it was called Too Much Is Just Right Productions.
I'm dead. I'm so dead.
So, and I do sometimes think your soul is so much bigger than sometimes the entrapment of the body and society. So it takes time to expand into it.
Yeah.
Be patient, my cricket.
Right.
But it's,
no,
lead on.
Right.
Because I'm inspired by you.
Mm-hmm.
And all these girls that are coming, alongside you, and this community that you are creating in this women's chorus and chorus choir, I don't know what you call it. Mm-hmm. We're singing, y'all.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for the next performances. And if you can sing, send us a message.
Yeah.
We'd love to have
Maybe
you come over.
Should. Yeah.
So let's do a big plug here.
Yeah. Okay. So the Resistance Revival Chorus is a movement that was started in New York after He Who Shall Not Be Named was elected. And it is a way to respond to the ancient and current atrocities of this society matrix thing with resistance and spiritual songs and love and power and just the women coming together. And women, I mean all women identifying humans, like all non-binary humans are welcome to express themselves through song. So we meet on Sundays. The time is changing. We've founded the San Diego chapter of that, and we are multi-generational, multilingual, multidimensional, multi-faith, all the multis. We're the multis.
Multi-cool. Multi-badass.
Multi-badass. And we're conjuring up some things for San Diego to sing at the border, to sing in women's prisons, to sing and to rally and raise money for nonprofits, and just to give the kind of unleashed queens of Southern California or San Diego a place to come and roar.
Yeah. So use your voice for a purpose. Come and join us. Yeah. Message everything's true and free.
Everything true is
free. Everything true is free. I'm going to write it on the thing so y'all have it perfectly well written. Or Agri Salvis. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on here.
Oh my gosh, it's made my
sharing
day.
Your love and your spirit.
Alive. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Also, I don't know, just like I talked so much, but you're the shit. Thank you. You're amazing.
You didn't talk so
Everyone
much.
should work with you.
Yeah. Come work with me.
Come work with me.
Come join the chorus for now.
Okay.
Thank you guys for hopping on to Tales of Recovery. We will see you next time. Love and light.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was so fucking fun.
That was fun. I hope this fucking thing recorded.
Me too.
I think it did. I'm going to file save.
Oh no, my ring just broke.
Uh-oh.
That's funny.
Wait. You're deaf, right? You're breaking free of
I
something.
know. So literally at
Let's
the
do
end,
this.
it just
Bye, YouTube people. We're going to talk medicine.
You're not welcome.
You're not.